This program contains true stories of rescues. All of the 911 calls you will hear are real. Whenever possible, the actual people involved have helped us reconstruct the events as they happened.
When a life is threatened, every heartbeat and each passing moment becomes more and more precious. I'm William Shatner. Tonight, true stories of compassion and determination on Rescue 911. We begin on a cold day in March of 1988 as members of the Cache County Water Rescue Team were making their way out onto a frozen lake in a remote area outside Logan, Utah.
We had been diving earlier in the winter. We're kind of working on an ice diving certification. And it was kind of a nice day, so we figured we'd head over to Bear Lake and try to get a dive in.
Let's try here. This looks pretty good. Let's clear out some of the snow.
The ice was about 18 inches thick, and so we had to take a chainsaw.
Joe Yonk, a certified instructor, was teaching the others to ice dive, including Lynn Nelson, who'd never dived under ice before.
I was fairly new at diving. I'd put in a little over 50 dives that year. I didn't think it'd be anything too unusual.
We have had some people die ice diving. In fact, they were two scuba instructors, and they got caught under the ice and panicked and drowned. When you dive in 36-degree water, which is what the water was over at Bear Lake that day, it slows everything down so that your reactions aren't as fast. You don't think as fast and as clear in what you normally would. You can only stay under for about 10 to 15 minutes without hypothermia setting in.
Okay, let's go get our stuff.
We secured a rope to a buoy that was frozen in the water right next to the hole.
Who's going in first?
Since Lynn had never been under, we decided to let him go first with Joe. And so we tied the safety line to Lynn. Joe had decided he wasn't going to be hooked up. He had said that he would stick close to Lynn. I mean, we have all the confidence in the world in Joe.
Joe's wife, Kayleen, and the others stayed on the surface as safety divers.
The visibility down there was about 5 or 6 feet in front of us. The agreement when we jumped into the water was that I would have the rope tied to me and Joe would swim right next to me, and we'd be within arm's reach of each other at all times.
If they had any problems whatsoever, you're supposed to pull 3 times. And at that point, we will start pulling that line back in.
Oh, they're about 50 feet out now.
We were about 150 feet, I would guess, away from the hole. You could see the rope go back and disappear, but you couldn't tell that there was a hole there. next thing I saw was Joe right in front of me, and his eyes were just bulged out. He grabbed the regulator out of my mouth. What made matters worse at that point was, for some reason, our buoyancy changed between the two of us, and I don't remember who went which direction, but we separated, one above the other. And I thought, you know, we're in, this is not going to work. I need air. I needed a breath, and now he's got my regulator, and I remember grabbing him and pulling us back together so we were face to face again. And we started buddy breathing back and forth. At that point, my thought was, where's the hole? So I picked up the rope and started pulling it in to pull it tight.
When the line started pulling taut, I thought maybe it was wrapped around an obstacle or something. It just felt different. It didn't feel right, but it wasn't the 3 quick pulls.
Once the rope got tight, Joe got my octopus, which is a spare regulator, and started breathing on that. I remember pulling the rope in because I thought, we pull it tight, I can pull hand over hand on the rope plus swim, and we'll be able to go straight to the hole. I look over at Joe, and he don't have a regulator in his mouth, and he's going to hold his breath till we get there, and it's a long ways. I knew Joe was in trouble, and I knew if I didn't make it back to that hole, that we were going to die.
When we continue.
I was swimming really hard at that point, and my legs were hurting. I didn't know at that time I was dragging him through the water.
When Joe Young's main regulator and backup both stopped working while ice diving, he became trapped without oxygen below an 18-inch thick layer of ice. To get help, his friend and diving partner, Lynn Nelson, was trying to make his way back to the hole they'd cut in the ice, but it was more than 100 feet away.
I was swimming really hard at that point, and I didn't know why it was so hard. I was pulling hand over hand, and my legs were hurting. I didn't know at that time I was dragging him through the water.
I had the end of the line, and we were getting ready to tie another line to it. Next thing we know, I mean, a big old air bubble just popped right through the hole in the ice. Lynn popped up, and we thought he was in trouble.
Joe! Joe!
A few seconds later, Joe just kind of bobbed to the surface.
His eyes were wide open, and his pupils were fixed and dilated. He wasn't there. I just thought to myself, I thought, oh my God, he's dead. I've recovered enough dead bodies. I know what a dead body looks like, and he was dead.
She just turned to me and said, Dan, go up, get your radio, try to get help.
I took charge. I took care of my husband. It's the first time I've ever done CPR on anybody. You know, I have to certify every year for my job, but when you do it in real life, and I just wanted to get him breathing, and I didn't tilt his head back, and I didn't plug his nose, and I wasn't getting any air into his lungs. I was getting frustrated and mad, and he had a black hood on, and I just grabbed a hold of it and I yanked it off as hard as I could. Everybody thinks that I just ripped it off so violently that I tilted his head back and opened his airway. I could see that I was getting air into his chest. And that's when he acted like he was going to throw up in my mouth.
Kayleen gave him a few more breaths, and then he started coming a little more around. Then he just laid there and started moaning and stuff.
He started making this awful noise, like somebody had hit him in the stomach and he'd lost his breath.
Are you okay?
We were still going, Joe, are you okay? He just laid there on the ice and made this noise.
Come on, guys, we can get into the hospital. Get his fins off.
Yeah.
About that time, I said, come on, guys, we've got to take him to the hospital.
After his near drowning, Joe Yonk was taken to the nearest hospital for examination. Doctors treated him for fluid in the lungs, which can be fatal. But after 3 days, he was released without any permanent damage. Three years later, the memories of what happened below the ice are still vivid for Joe.
I knew I could not swim back to the hole. I took those 2 breaths of air and they did absolutely nothing for me. I was still out of air. And the thought that came through my mind at the time was, if we try to buddy breathe, I knew that instead of just one not making it, both of us wouldn't make it. So at that point, I thought, I'll tie the rope around my arm and they can drag me back in later. And at that point, that's the last I remember.
Joe later learned that all 4 of their regulators and backups had failed. The compressed air inside their tanks contained so much moisture that under the extreme cold, the regulators froze. Had they been using another type of regulator, specially designed for ice diving, it might never have happened.
You need to remember to check your equipment very carefully when you're ice diving because of the inherent problems. Make sure everything's working properly, that everything is just right, or you don't do the dive.
I really love Joe, and I know how much he means to me, and I know that without him here, life just wouldn't be the same.
We're much closer than we were before. I think that type of a situation naturally brings you a lot closer. I think it makes you appreciate each other a lot more. Makes you feel more of a bond, I think, than what there was before. Right, dear?
Mm-hmm.
In the small town of St. Tammany Parish, Louisiana, Independence Day is a time for celebration. On July 4th, 1991, Hollis Bennett was enjoying the holiday with family and friends.
We was just sitting around shooting the bull, just talking about everything, and 4th of July, barbecuing.
Hollis's wife, Augusta, was keeping an eye on their 17-month-old son, Kyle.
Kyle had been playing in the yard. He's wound up, full of energy, and wants to touch everything and see everything and feel everything.
Hearing Kyle scream, Gail Hodgson ran to check on him.
I was worried about the fire ants. And then the closer I got, I could see that it was coiled and the tongue was just flickering.
It's a snake! It's getting! It's getting on the foot! Oh, hurry up! It's been bit!
And once I saw that he was bitten, that's the only thing I thought of, was that he was going to die.
This is 911. Do you have an emergency? Yes, I do. What's the problem, ma'am? Child, a 17-month-old that's been bit by a copperhead. Oh, okay, ma'am. Do you have a choice of an ambulance? I think so. I'm out here on Low Davis and Allen Road. Okay, ma'am, they'll answer in just a moment, okay? The best thing is try to keep the baby calm if you can, okay? Okay, ma'am, emergency 1's online. Go ahead, please. Hello? Yes, ma'am. I have a 17-month-old that's been bit by a copperhead. Okay, we'll get an ambulance right out. Can you patch the mother into with a paramedic? What are we supposed to do? Sure, 1. Hold on, okay? Right. Are you patching it now? Okay, hold on.
If something happens to him, well, then really I I just probably just want to give up on life itself because, to me, he's everything.
Joe Taylor killed the snake to take it to be identified so the baby could be properly treated.
I just assumed it was a copperhead. Then I found out later it was a cottonmouth. It was hard to believe because I've been out here 3 years. I've never seen a snake.
A snake bite is particularly serious for a child that small, who could die from the venom within a few hours.
He's just now calm. I'm a nurse. Is there any special thing I need to do? He's swelling.
Okay, just hold on a minute. I got him calling you, okay?
Okay.
Hold on.
Paramedic George Schwindling, already en route, was asked what first aid measures the parents should take.
Put a constricting band just above the bite site, not a tourniquet, a constricting band.
There are greater risks involved when a child is bitten by a snake, since a child is considerably smaller than an adult, and the venom has less body space to absorb into.
Okay, the paramedic is en route. He said you need to put a constriction band right above the bite site.
Okay.
And they're en route.
I've got ice, and I'll go ahead and constrict with a tourniquet.
Keep him calm as you can.
Okay.
She was trying to be strong. Hollis was trying to be strong. They were trying to take care of the baby. And I was trying not to show how scared I was. But inside, I was just shaking.
Hold still.
It had only been about 5 minutes. Kyle's foot had turned black, and he was swollen above his knee. So I knew the venom was going up on him awful fast. I was scared to death. Mostly I was afraid that the paramedics wouldn't get there in time, and I would have to start CPR on my own child.
It had taken us approximately 19 minutes to get to the child, and he was conscious and still crying at the time.
How long ago was he bitten?
Okay.
Do I have the snake?
Yeah.
They said only one of us could ride, so like my wife was being a nurse, I figured she would be more help to him than me.
All right, okay.
They took off immediately. I was a little relieved. At least I knew that he wasn't going to die right there in front of us.
I could see him on the cardiac monitor. I knew he had some irregular heartbeat. But the paramedic was very reassuring, telling me that, this is what he would expect him to do. I think at that point I realized I could let go. If he quit breathing now, they could do whatever needed to be done.
30 minutes after being bitten, Kyle was admitted to St. Tammany Parish Hospital and treated by Dr. Philip Gardner.
The top of his foot was all black and blue, and his leg was swollen up to a level of the knee. The concern was that there was still a lot of venom left in the top of the foot, and if that venom was absorbed and went systemic, that he did face a risk of death from the bite. The majority of snake bites that I see do not need antivenom.
There are a number of reactions. That's why we don't use it every time.
Dr. Gardner told Kyle's parents that he believed the boy's chances of survival were better with the antivenom, even though he could suffer a fatal reaction to it. They agreed to take the risk.
He started crying again, Daddy, 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 Daddy.
Okay.
So I hummed him a little tune or whatever, and I just told him how much I loved him and that, I was going to take care of him to the best of my ability, and I wasn't going to leave him for nothing.
When Dr. Gardner had told us that we needed to send him to Children's Hospital, I knew that he was pretty bad off because we have some real good hospitals here, and if they couldn't take care of him and give him what he needed, then he was getting bad on us.
Throughout the 40-mile trip to Children's Hospital, they continued to administer the antivenom.
It seemed like for every mile we traveled, that the bridge got 2 miles longer. I guess in a way that's when it all hit me. Right now it's a matter of life and death for him.
2 hours after being bitten, 17-month-old Kyle Bennett was admitted to Children's Hospital in critical condition. There was little anyone could do but wait and see how he responded. His parents took turns watching over him. On the third day, Augusta arrived to find a dramatic change.
He was standing up in his bed on his foot. I just knew then it was over with. everything was going to be fine.
2 months later, Kyle has completely recovered from the snake bite. His parents are grateful to everyone who helped save his life.
It takes a lot to be a nurse or a doctor, stand there and work on a little kid like that. All I can do is tell them thank you from the bottom of my heart. Everybody was great.
Or you can't make your mind which one you want to look at, do you?
He's a curious little kid. He's still wound up and wears me out as quick as he can. And he's just a bundle of joy to be with.
It's called hedgehog. You want to ride one of those? I don't want him to mosey away from me at all. You want to ride an elephant? So I'll probably be a very overprotective mother for a long time, at least till he's 25.
There's nothing routine about saving lives. Each crisis poses its own unique set of problems. This story is not a recreation. It's one case that faced an emergency room team at the University Hospital Trauma Center in Newark, New Jersey on the night of February 24th, 1991.
The trauma room is organized chaos. Everyone has a job to do, kind of like a pit crew. You take one piece and everyone gets a tire, and it's kind of the medical equivalent.
8:27 p.m., a severely wounded young man is helped into the emergency room.
Okay.
Dr. Carmela Sophia assesses the victim's injury, while the 2 young women who brought him in wait outside.
Give me some gloves.
He was stabbed in the back.
What's your name? Take a deep breath. Come on, take a deep breath. Come on, inhale.
Right away, you listen to his lungs to see if you hear decreased breath sounds on the side he was stabbed. His breathing wasn't as deep as it should have been.
Any size.
Assistant head nurse Mary Beth Labb is also on duty.
Come on, honey, roll over.
I kept giving him directions to try and get him up on a stretcher and sit up in the bed.
What happened? Tell me what happened.
I know it hurts, but you gotta listen to everybody and do what they're telling you to do. Then the officer finally stopped me and said, no, he's unable to speak. Then I realized that he was deaf and wasn't able to speak on his own.
Do you read lips? No.
You read lips. How big of a knife?
Huh? Where's that one?
Do you know how much went in?
Yes.
He hit you hard. He hit him hard with the knife. You're gonna be okay. No, honey, you're not gonna. You're not gonna. You're gonna be okay. Listen to me. Listen to me. Come on. Listen to me. Listen. You're gonna be okay. All right. You're gonna be fine. Okay. That makes my heart go out to somebody. It makes me want to stay there even more and hold his hand and keep telling him, I know you're not going to die. You just have to hang in there and you have to believe me.
Where were you? At home?
Your girlfriend's house. Your girlfriend's house?
Ask him who Carrie is.
Who's Carrie? Carrie? Carrie.
In your wallet.
Carrie.
There's a name.
Who is that? Your ex-girlfriend. We won't call her.
No.
That explains everything.
Okay.
Once the victim is stabilized, his hearing-impaired girlfriend and her sister, who were waiting outside, are brought in to help the trauma team communicate.
Okay, has he ever taken any medicine that's made him sick? No medicine problem?
X-rays reveal 23-year-old Robert Young has suffered a collapsed lung.
Listen to me. They cut you open, cut you right here, and then this goes in. And that helps you breathe, okay? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. I like patients to know what's gonna happen to them, especially someone in his situation who can't communicate with us the way that he normally does. We're not gonna understand his sign. You're gonna feel a needle. Needle. Now it'll be numb. Okay? Numb?
Okay.
You'll feel pressure. Okay? I'll tell you when. Talk to him when you're doing this.
Okay. That means it's a lot of pressure.
Lots of pressure.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. It's a very painful procedure. Okay. It's a very painful procedure, and you just don't know what's going to happen to you. You don't know the pain that you're going to feel. When they start pressing on your lung field, you feel like we're going to take your breath away. You don't feel like we're giving it back to you. Do this. That's it. More. It's upper rib.
Yep, I noticed.
That's it. That's it. Good.
Okay, Rick?
14.
That should be it.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay?
Mary Beth, let's give him a 5 of morphine.
Okay.
Once the procedure is complete, Robert's mother, Alice, is allowed to see him for the first time.
He was laying there with tubes coming from everywhere. I was just so horrified.
What's your first name?
My name is Alice.
Robert is moved to another room where police question him about the stabbing.
Then come on, dear. I didn't know you won't be my husband.
Yeah, he came up from behind, and he didn't know one was behind him.
He told me he wanted to talk with my girlfriend. She said she didn't want to see him, and he wouldn't listen to her or me.
Drinking. He was drinking.
Yeah, the suspect was drinking?
Yes.
I didn't know he had a knife. While we were fighting, he stabbed me in the back.
Pistons, Detroit.
Later that evening, 16-year-old hospital volunteer Claude Smith visits Robert in recovery.
During the 2 years that I've been working here so far, that's the first time I ever had a deaf person come into the emergency room and had to help the person out.
Yeah.
My favorite. Yeah. It made me feel good to talk to him in sign language some and everything. I think that helped comfort him a little more, make him feel a little better. It was a good game. I watched the whole thing at break time, almost.
4 days later, Robert is given the news that he can go home.
Collapsed lung is gone.
The hospital's really good.
You're all set to go, okay?
They took care of me.
See you later.
They took care of me a lot.
Talk to you this afternoon.
And I really love them for it. And they love me too.
At the end of all of this, he seemed pretty happy.
I love you.
He was smiling at me when he left, so that felt good. I got a chance to apologize for yelling at him.
My big baby.
I really like this hospital. But I really want to go home.
Within 6 weeks, Robert's collapsed lung completely healed.
I feel I'm fine. I feel much better. Oh, we're happy.
He's a special child. He graduated from the State School for the Deaf here in New Jersey with honors, excelled in sports there, basketball, and now he plans to go into college. I am very proud of him.
An arrest warrant for the suspect is outstanding.
I'm just so sad that this happened, but I think this is a good experience for him. I think that this is a good experience for the hospital, too. It will help people at other trauma centers and the public be more aware of deaf people, hearing impaired people.
During his 20 years with the Sheriff's Department in Santa Barbara, California, dispatcher Roger Glenn has handled many different types of calls, but few more unusual than one he received on the afternoon of December 4th, 1990.
Yes, this is a supervisor at the telephone company in Palm Springs.
Hi.
I have a 4-year-old on a coin phone.
You have a what?
He walked there and he wants his mommy and daddy now.
Okay, you're in Palm Springs?
My initial reaction to that was, so? I mean, she's 3 counties and 300 miles away.
But he's at 805-344.
When she got to the prefix 344, then I realized why she was calling me, because that's the prefix for the Los Alamos area, which is in our county.
when we continue.
My initial concern was to find out where he was so we could send someone to help him.
Yeah. Is there someone there with you? No.
The little boy had dialed the operator and been transferred to phone company supervisor Joan Ellis.
You are. What is your name? Michael. Michael, what's your last name? Mikey. Is there someone there with you? No.
Can he read you the address on the phone?
Can you read the address? I can't read. You can't read?
My initial concern was to find out where he was so we could send someone to help him.
Is he near a building or a restaurant?
Is there a restaurant or a building there? No, this is just a trailer. A trailer? Yeah.
Trailer park.
Where is your mommy? He's at Los Angeles. He's in Los Angeles? Yeah.
I was concerned because of him being alone and maybe wandering out away from the telephone booth, and then maybe someone picking him up.
Sandy? He didn't know where he was just there on a phone. Well, I was fairly confident that if he was at a payphone, he was on Bell Street, the main street. At that point, we asked for a deputy to go.
Okay, how old are you? 4. 4? Yeah. Oh, you're pretty big.
Okay, Michael.
What?
Now you say you're at a payphone by a trailer, right?
Yeah.
And you're in Los Alamos.
No, that's where my mommy is, but I'm not there. I'm at the store.
What store?
You know where that you get the air stuff?
You get the air stuff?
Yeah, by that store.
You're-
Liquor store.
You're at the Chevron station?
Yeah, that.
Okay.
The only thing that he told me was the place you get air.
Okay.
So from that, I drew the conclusion he was at the Chevron
I
station.
think he's at the Chevron station.
The nearest sheriff's deputy was Jim Bull.
10-4. The distance concerned me because I knew that drive time would be at least 10 to 15 minutes. I was also concerned about him wandering out into traffic, perhaps getting scared and starting to run.
Also request you might check with CHP, see if they have a unit in the area that could stand by with him till I arrive.
A local highway patrol officer was also sent to search for the boy.
Michael, what are you wearing? What color shirt?
Orange, white, and blue, and white pants, and blue and black shoes, and red shoes.
Blue and black shoes, and what else?
And white and pants, and yellow shirt, and blue on the yellow shirt, and blue again, and orange, and then white on here.
When we asked Michael what color shirt he was wearing, I think he named off every color there was.
Okay.
We were so involved with him being lost and out there alone that when he started this, it was just kind of, funny.
Michael, how tall are you about?
What?
How tall are you? Do you know how tall you are?
Yes.
How tall are you?
16 tall.
Up there, do you know what he said?
I think he said 60 inches tall.
That's kind of tall for 4 years old.
60 inches tall. 50? 60. 60.
It was just keep Michael on the phone, keep him entertained, and as soon as we got an officer there, we could find him.
Around the same time, Dan Reasoner was working on his front porch when he realized he hadn't heard from his 4-year-old son for some time.
You see where Michael went?
No, I thought he was outside.
She said, well, he's probably out in the yard. And I said, no, I haven't seen him out in the yard. And she said, well, he's probably next door. We went next door and asked them if they seen him, and they said that he hadn't been over there.
As soon as Isabel Reasoner realized her 4-year-old grandson was missing, she began searching for him.
It was just too quiet. That's when I started to think, did he really mean it when he said he was going to run away? So I better go check.
came out.
When the quarters came out?
No.
Oh.
You didn't put quarters.
Do you know what street you live on?
Yeah.
What?
Wesley Street.
Wesley Street?
Yeah, Leslie Street.
Leslie Street, and there is one in Los Alamos. Operator, I should have a CHP officer there in about 2 minutes.
Okay.
I hope.
Okay.
CHP Officer Phil Ochoa drove to the location they thought Michael was calling from.
When I got to the gas station, I looked for the telephones. I saw a male adult there.
Santa Barbara, our unit's advising that Michael's not at the Chevron station.
At that time, I decided to continue the search.
Michael, could you do something for me?
What?
If you see a highway patrolman in a black and white police car drive up, could you tell me that?
No.
I know you don't see one yet, but if he does drive up, can you tell me that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see one.
You can see one now?
Okay, stay on the phone with us, Michael, though. Don't go away, okay?
But it turned around.
It turned around?
Yeah.
CHP, he says he can see your officer.
Michael? Michael?
What?
Are you still there?
Yes.
Okay, Michael, tell me if you see the highway patrolman again, but don't leave the phone, okay? Don't leave the phone.
Okay.
Just hold on.
I'm looking back.
No, you wait.
Wait for me.
Poor Michael was just in a panic. And so we were both saying, no, Michael, it's all right. He'll be right back. It's okay.
Are you still there, Michael?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hang up.
Well, don't hang up.
Okay, you're gonna leave.
Well, no, he's not going to leave you. Just wait right there, okay?
Okay.
You stay on the phone because he knows you're on the phone. So you stay right on the phone with us.
I know he can see me like I'm all alone.
He can see you?
Yeah.
All right, well, just a minute, okay?
How you doing?
Fine.
Okay. Let me talk to whoever's on the phone here. Hello?
Hi there.
Hi.
Is this the ever-popular highway patrol?
Officer Ochoa.
Your friendly dispatch, Senator County. Good job.
It was just like a relief, you know, a weight off his shoulders. Somebody was there with him. He wasn't a little 4-year-old out there by himself any longer.
CHP?
Yeah?
Yeah, there should be a deputy driving up.
Oh, there he is. Can we hang up now?
We certainly can. Thank you very much for your help.
You bet.
Okay, bye-bye.
It's always good when you can solve the problem in a positive way. And we were able to keep him on the line. We did get an officer to him. And I knew that the officer would be able to find wherever he belonged.
Got lost? You were talking to somebody?
We were starting to try to ask him questions, but we didn't know where he lived. We didn't know his address.
We were going down the street, looking on both sides. We were coming down to the phone booth. I said, oh no. I said, there's Mikey. I said, that's Mikey right there in the telephone booth.
The problem was resolved when his frantic grandmother came running and screaming happily up to where we were with the little boy, and we were able to give him back to her.
Michael, he felt like, well, I was ignoring him. And I think he got a little bit upset. He got mad at me, and then he told me he was going to run away. He probably thought, well, he's going to do something that's going to get my attention, which it did.
Young children, from the time they're able to talk, should be taught by their parents what their first, their middle, and their last name is, their street address, and their telephone number. And this is an important lesson that I think we all learned in this case.
We taught him his phone number and his address, because if anything like this happened, like the policeman, when they found him, all he would have had to tell him was his name and address, and they would have known right where to go.
She teaches me how to write my phone number and my address, and I'm never gonna run away again.
first impression of looking at the car was, it's hard to believe that anyone come out of that car alive.
"24 hours a day, doctors, nurses, and technicians battle against the clock to save the lives of unknown victims of devastating accidents and violent crimes. What you're about to see is not a recreation. It's one story from the late night shift at R. Adams Cowley Shock Trauma Center in Baltimore.
Howard County 911, do you need the police, fire department, or an ambulance?
We need medical emergency and police. There's a terrible accident on Flowery Quarter and Carroll Mill. Howard County 911.
Yes, somebody's laying on the ground, looks quite injured.
Rescue alarm 3-1, station 3, engine 5-1 alerted for personal injury and accident.
A small car had gone out of control and crashed into a telephone pole.
Myself as the third police car on the scene. My first impression of looking at the car was, it's hard to believe that anyone come out of that car alive. You could practically stick your head through the driver's door by the telephone pole and stick it out the passenger side. It was so close. The seats was practically on top of each other. It's probably going to be one of the worst that I've seen anyone live out of.
En route, the paramedics called the trauma center.
We're en route to Shock Trauma, priority 1, ETA, that's 20-25 minutes.
Dr. Brad Cushing is the trauma surgeon on call.
This is Dr. Cushing on trauma line.
They don't call you for the easy ones.
General, yes, this time we have Dr. Cushing on trauma line. Go ahead, consult, sir. Yes, sir, this is Howard County Medic 35. We're on the scene with a 17-year-old white male. Patient was the severely felt.
It's difficult. I'm not there at the scene. Can't see what it is that they're telling me. And I'm the one who has to make the decision.
No mask pants at this time. We'll take the patient here at Shock Trauma.
The victim is the 17-year-old driver. Though critically injured, Chad Ritchie had crawled out of the crushed car before the paramedics could reach him.
What month is it?
July.
July? Are you breathing okay? You're starting to start. Huh?
July?
Yeah, you.
A little fast.
Okay, slow it down. Do you have any pain in your chest? Squeeze my hand.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Okay, let me have your arm here, buddy.
18 minutes was fast.
How you doing, sweetie? Okay? You're in the hospital now, hon. You're at the trauma center.
Yeah, I know.
You're
Lots
gonna be okay.
of stuff's going to be
Slow,
going
easy,
on
deep
right
breaths,
now.
baby.
You
You're
can
gonna be
take
fine.
Can you tell me a little bit about what happened?
Mr. Stop.
Those darn stop signs, huh, hon?
Okay, so you had a couple drinks tonight?
Yes.
When did you eat dinner last?
We didn't eat.
You didn't eat, okay?
What, you want to stick them?
Give me your phone number and somebody I should call for you.
596.
596.
416.
Is that your parents? What's your last name?
Hold your head.
Hold your head real still.
As I've just stated, x-rays would determine the extent of his injuries. Right now, he's being screened and evaluated.
X-ray. Okay, taking a deep breath for me. Blow it out. Taking a deep breath and hold it.
Chad clearly was hit from the left side here. Has the fractures that you see here, 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 down and through here, all on the posterior backside. So he's going to have a real good lung injury, and he's at real high risk of having splenic injury or anything like that. Anybody folks of Chad?
Yes.
Hi.
Richard and Elaine Ritchie had been asleep when they got the midnight call about their youngest son's accident.
Yeah, he's okay, but we've got some work to do, and I need to talk to you about some stuff. Okay. I'm Dr. Cushing. Hi, your mom? Yeah. Go ahead, have a seat. I'm going to go a little quick because I have to go right back up. We're taking him to the operating room. He has some broken ribs. He has some blood in the lung. That's all going to be all right. He does have some internal bleeding inside the abdomen, and that's why we're going to the operating room right now.
Oh, God, is he going to be okay?
Can't promise you anything at this point.
Oh, God, dear God, please let him be okay.
Yeah.
Can I see him?
You won't. It's too late. He's already in the operating room. I apologize for rushing, but I got to get back up there with him.
He's holding his own right now just fine. Okay? Your folks' job is to kind of hold tight for us, okay? Okay, we'll keep you posted on anything that changes.
Oh, God.
Okay. You okay? Okay.
I'll quit this job if it becomes pure routine and doesn't affect me, and then we're far from that.
In the operating room upstairs, Chad has been prepped for the surgery which will determine the extent of his internal injuries and try to stop the bleeding.
We do save more than 90% of the patients that we are involved with. The majority that you can go home feeling good about.
Chad's surgery will last until the early hours of the morning.
It's an isolated injury, but I think it's a pretty bad spleen. I think we'll take it out.
I agree with that. That looks like that goes right down the hilum.
Yeah, there's no other major source of bleeding, but look carefully once we get this out of the way.
Diaphragm was okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I would take that one out.
Okay. I think it's going to get to be too much. You got some 3/0 silk towels?
Chad had a massively injured spleen with cracks through it that went right down into the base of the spleen called the hilum. Safest thing to do at this point for Chad was to actually remove that spleen. I think Chad's doing really very well right now. So, I'd be glad to be able to go down and talk to his family a little bit more about that and make him feel better about the fact that at least long term he's probably going to be okay.
Over here and talk to him.
Chad. Honey, it's Mom. Chad, can you hear me? Honey, you're here. God, don't say anything. Just get well. Can you hear me? Chad, I love you, darling, and I want to take care of you. Okay? You're going to be okay, honey. They're taking real good care of you. Okay? You hear me, darling? Just get well quick.
Our role in treating Chad is to treat not just his injuries, but also to try and treat the fact that he'll be out driving again someday, and it's our hopes that he won't drink and drive again.
You want to write something? It's my own Chad. Chad, I told you before, people make mistakes, okay? Honey, don't blame yourself. Just be thankful that you're alive. I am. I wouldn't put the blame now on someone else, because as soon as they see a beer with a teenager, who's going to get blamed? I said, I hope you kids understand. Here's a good friend got hurt. Is the one beer that important?
Stupid. Don't even drink and drive. Don't even... It's stupid. This bottom line is stupid.
This time, Chad Ritchie's broken bones will mend, and life will go on without a spleen.
I'm looking forward to just having things get back to normal again, having us fight over trivial things, seeing his friends come back and forth, hearing the phone ring, and not having to say Chad's in the hospital. That's what I'm looking forward to, things going back to normal, because normal, the way it was, looks pretty good now.
Step out of the car, please.